InsyaAllah, insyaAllah. Maybe the admin can share with us, ramai tak ladies ke apa ke? Ataupun ada
Ada.
ramai
I have the
lelaki tak?
statistics. I have
Oh
the
ya,
statistics.
I
Apa
tak
yang
nampak.
untuk nak dengar ni ke ataupun IUM-nya statistics?
Tak, I mean tak ni yang menonton kita hari ni, the
Tak
participant,
tahu.
ada tak?
Currently yang menonton nampak majoriti nama wanita, madam. Open to all.
Itulah. Bila kita cakap pasal wanita, yang lelaki tak mau dengar. That's the
Dia
problem. Ya. So yang antara wanita kalau nak bicara, buat apa nak bicara? Sebab semua kita share the same feelings, you know.
Saya ada mention pada staff-staff juga. Saya kata, baik you all, I make compulsory to all the male staff to listen to this. Bagi dia orang listen to this one. Kalau tidak, dia pun tak nampak, bro.
Memang tak nampak.
Dia payah nak nampak. So, it's 10 already. Macam mana kita? Dah ada participant ke?
82 orang. Kita expected berapa orang?
Atira, ada number tak?
Can go maximum up to 500. But so I think as the talk berlangsung nanti mungkin kita akan tambahlah participant tu, Prof. InsyaAllah.
Wah, ada daripada Unimas. Wah, hello. No, Syahidah, hello.
Ya, kita juga invite daripada UA lain, Prof.
Assalamualaikum semua. Selamat pagi. Harap-harap semuanya berpuasa. Oh, Hamid, how are you, Prof. Hamid? Jumpa lagi ya. Ada juga yang lelakinya.
InsyaAllah.
Ya, Zurina, Ramadan Mubarak pada semua juga. Morning, Idayu Mumtaz. Oh, ada lagi daripada Unimas. Alright, not bad. Salam, Muhammad Muzaffar Ali Khan. Okay. 95. Up to you.
So macam mana? Okay, kita nak teruskan ke? I mean, nak tunggu apa-apa lagi ke?
Boleh teruskan.
Okay, boleh teruskan
Dah
dah.
98 participants lah.
Okay, bolehlah kot. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone. Let us start our session with the recitation of Umukitab Al-Fatihah. Bismillah. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Okay, Ramadan Karim, everyone. Yeah, Alhamdulillah, we have done with our first Ramadan. Our second. This is our third day, right? If not mistaken. First was on Sunday. Yesterday was Monday, and today is Tuesday. All right. So we've done with our first 2 days of Ramadan, and hopefully Allah grant us with a blessed Ramadan this year. So welcome everyone once again to IIUM Leadership Talk Series number 2, 2022, organized by the Management Services Division IIUM under the leadership of this time a lady, Madam Fazidah Haji Bakhtiar, the Executive Director of MSD IIUM. So you can now see the correlation of this topic and the organizer itself. Yeah, so insyaAllah we will be listening to Yang Berbahagia Professor Emerita Datuk Dr. Asma Ismail, Ibn Sina Chairholder International Islamic University Malaysia, and we will be listening and possibly discuss, insyaAllah, if time permits, on the topic Women in Leadership, Inspiring Positive Transformation. Yeah. And well, the topic, as always, been a hot topic, but yet a reality to everyone, that a reality that everyone should take. Yeah, women have increasingly moved toward greater gender equality at home and in the workplace. Okay. I think Datuk will later explain further on this one. And in fact, IIUM alone, we can see tremendous involvement of women in the high positions, and that depicts the influence of women, especially in the administration. Yeah, and we will focus and listen on what Prof. Asma has to share with us. But before we move on, as usual and as always, I'm honored to read a very brief letter of Prof. Asma, the lady of many firsts. Yeah. Well, Prof. Asma was the first female of VC of University Science Islam Malaysia, USIM, in 2022. Okay, that is the first. And the first female VC of University Science Malaysia, my alma mater, USM, 2016 to 2019, making her the first woman to be appointed twice, the third first, as the Vice Chancellor of a public university. She had served as the country's first female Director General of Higher Education, 2014 to 2016, and is currently the first female President of Academy of Sciences Malaysia, 2016 to 2022. 7 first or 6 first already. And now, currently, she is the Ibn Sina shareholder of IIUM with her landmark contributions to Malaysia's higher education system include the establishment of the prestigious National Academy Award, Anugerah Akademik Negara, yeah? And the establishment of research universities in Malaysia, and also in co-helming the development and implementation of the Malaysian Education Blueprint, Higher Education 2013 to 2025. And before I really pass the platform to Prof. Asma, in addition to all what I have said just now, and I must say this one, she is actually the beauty with brain. Just take that as a compliment, Prof. Don't say anything. So, Yang Berbahagia Professor Emerita Dr. Asma Ismail Ibn Sina, Chairholder International Islamic University Malaysia. The platform is yours. Over to you, Prof.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera and a very good morning to everyone. Selamat berpuasa untuk hari ini, and thank you so much for joining in this morning on this particular topic about women in leadership. So let me share my slides. Okay. Nampak ya, Syarizat? Can you see the slides?
Yes, Prof.
Yes, Prof. Very clear,
Right.
very clear.
Okay, thank you. So the topic this morning, women in leadership, inspiring positive transformation. So let's see. Okay, this will be what I would like to focus on. The talk will be on leadership so that men and women can listen to this. But more important now, how I will now start to bring in women in leadership, right? So about leadership, what does it take to be a leader, leadership in the university itself, and the global test for leadership with the advent of COVID-19, and what kind of university leadership do we need now post-COVID-19? I think that's very important. And whether women leaders are better at handling crisis, and what qualities do women have that allow them to handle crisis better, and are women there yet as leaders, and if not, what are the issues? That is what I would like to discuss. So let me start by saying, okay, everyone joining in is thinking somewhere along your career, perhaps you want to be a leader, right? So if you want to be a leader, this is something that I want to say. If you say a leader, then the leader has a gender attached to that. A leader can be a male leader or a female leader. But if we talk about leadership, then it is gender neutral. Maknanya genderless lah. Leadership is for everyone, right? So the definition for leadership is many and varied, and the topic of leadership itself has generated at least 2,560 million results if you just type leadership, with 2.2 million on the definition of leadership alone. That means our understanding of leadership remains incomplete despite decades of research. So in Islam, however, a Khalifah, as a Khalifah, everyone is a leader with responsibility to lead humankind to the right path. But of course, among us, even in Islam stories pun, among us, there are leader of leaders, right? So leadership is the ability to lead, to motivate, and to inspire people, and more importantly, to produce results. Now, previous concept that I usually talk about, bila kita guna bahasa Malaysia, ketua is someone in front and then the followers are behind. But the current concept is not about someone in front and a lot of people behind, but about the fact that a leader should nurture more leaders by working together as a team, joining hands and moving together in unison. This is called pemimpin. So maknanya sekarang ni what we want are leaders who are pemimpin rather than just one ketua and everybody else are the mere followers. So leadership is not just about the leader. This is something that I also would like to discuss. Yeah? The leadership is not just about the leader. Leadership is about the growth, the positive change that the leader can bring about while working with others. So that's why, bagi saya, leadership in the university is very important, either in top management as the number one or the number two, or even as a dean or as a pengarah, someone leading MSD, someone leading finance, someone leading the library. All this, right, are important because of the fact that you are creating the ecosystem in the university, and that ecosystem can be a happy one or the ecosystem can be something without soul, and that's another one ni. And jarang-jarang lah university guna happiness index as part and parcel of their punya KPI. Maybe that should also be because now post-COVID we talk about staff well-being, bukan staff management. So yang ni kalau Puan Fazi dengar as pendaftar, this is something you need to now concern about. We are now talking about post-COVID staff well-being, bukan staff management. So people involved in MSD juga harus look into the kind of policies that you have now put in. Yeah. So the job of the leader is actually to nurture more leaders, and in order to nurture more leaders, so it's very important that the leader does not remain in the office, that the leader is there. Leader is required to turun padang and is there to engage with the people. So of course, then the next question, what does it take to be one, right? So being a leader is not about self-establishment. That means simply to gain power and respect, but rather a leader is someone that will bring purpose and meaning to the university. And this is very important because people working in the university, they need to understand what is the purpose, where is the direction of the university, and you need to make it very clear. And hopefully the purpose that is now there that allows all the staff to get up in the morning and come to work is because of the same shared values that they have with about the university. Bukan sebab they come to work because they get paid and that's it, and cukup masa they want to come home. This is the worst part that can happen with the staff. That means there's no sense of cakna, no sense of belonging to the university at all. It's just a matter of a place where I can earn a salary. So because it takes more than that to make an organization work. Yeah. So and hopefully use the vast knowledge and wisdom to do good for humanity and help nation building. So the position of being a top management or a leader is loaded with responsibility and accountability. So I always question why anyone want to be one, because if you want to be one, remember this is a thankless job. So don't expect people to say thank you to you. It is a thankless job. You can be you dilantik and then you can be dilantik. Maknanya immediately someone will replace you, even sometimes without a letter of saying thank you. But I hope that if management was listening to this talk, tolonglah ajar semua AR dan sebagainya yang ada dalam universiti. Apabila habis seorang dekan atau seorang pengarah atau seorang VC atau seorang TNC, ucaplah terima kasih. Tak salah pun, it's just a piece of paper, but it means a lot to the person concerned. Tapi kadang-kadang you lupa perkara ini, and this should be what I call as a protocol, part and parcel of what needs to be there in a caring university, right? Especially kalau di UIA, Universiti Islam, hello, this is something that you need to now look into as well. So to be the top management of the university, you need to ask if you have what it takes to be one. Ramai orang memang berasa nak jadi leader all the time, ya. Ada saja application pembukaan untuk TNC ke, untuk dekan ke, untuk VC ke, nak isi borang sokmo, right? But the thing is, do you have what it takes to be one? This is something sometimes you need to be, jangan overconfident sangat, ya. So do you have the ideas to move the university ahead of the game? And what do you consider as ahead of the game, right? Is ahead of the game moving up the rankings for the university, or is the head of the game talking about humanizing education, or is the head of the game championing for SDG, or is the head of the game nurturing, how to nurture future future ready nation builders? Or do you want to now create impact to the community and make a difference, or enhance wealth creation and societal well-being? Because as Mahathir said, if you want to be a leader, you got to have ideas. If not, you are simply a follower. So to have what it takes, I believe that you have to go through the step-by-step of leadership training or competency in order to acquire the skill to be a leader, right? There are no shortcuts. Yeah? To me, if you ask me, there are no shortcuts. You have to climb the ladder step by step to gain wisdom and to gain competency. Because to gain wisdom, you need to have a lot of experience, and that does not come overnight. Not that I am saying, oh, young people cannot lead. Young people can lead, provided that young person has gained a lot of wisdom, has gained a lot of experience. Because you can be old and senior, tapi tak banyak experience pun. So hanya more in your becoming a domain expert sahaja, expert in your area. Tapi bila nak handle admin, you got to be handling HR, you have to handle research, you have to handle all the other aspects, governance. Do you know enough of governance for you to be a leader? And some of you can be very ambitious and you want to get a shortcut to becoming a leader, but you will falter. Let me tell you, you will falter if wisdom and competency to lead is not there. And people in the university will be very aware of the fact that you don't have what it takes to be one. So we are all leaders, yeah, but there are leaders among the leaders or a professor among the professors. That I selalu katalah, dalam semua professor ni pun ada professor among professors. So in the administration role, many had aspirations of becoming either a registrar or a bursar. That means those in bursary will say, okay, my final ultimate aim is to be a bursar. Those in admin will say, my final aim is to be a pendaftar, or those in library will say to be chief librarian, but those in academic will say, oh, maybe I want to be a dean, and those in research institutes who say, I want to be a director, and there are some of us who want to be the number 2 or even the number 1. So becoming a leader or top management of a public university is not quite the same as becoming the CEO or top management of a company. Because the company, the bottom line is profits. But for a university, that is a totally different aspect altogether. Walaupun universities are supposed to generate income, sebenarnya we are supposed to generate surplus, not income, bukan profit. So enough for us to cover our surplus, means enough for us to break even, to cover our operationals, and then to have some for use or to expand the university, but not there to create profits. And especially if you are in a public university, that was not what the public university was there for, right? So being a leader or top management in the public university is also about being entrepreneurial, like I said, but in university we have to deal with iconic professors and the brightest academics in the country. So to be a leader among leaders in the university, you have to gain their respect. That means today, if you want to gain the respect of the professors yang ada di dalam university, for an academic, you must have academic standing. So kalau you tak ada academic standing lagi, maybe you're not ready yet, okay? But to be a great leader, you need the cooperation and buy-in of not called COO, cooperation and buy-in of everyone in order to move the university forward. So to do that, you must have the qualities of leader and double me. For admin staff, you must have the knowledge and use that knowledge to facilitate the development of the university. I selalu kata macam ni lah, dalam universiti ni kita semua ada roles to play, right? The academic, you have to have academic standing in order for you to become, kalau hebat dalam research, elok jadi TNC PNI. Kalau hebat dalam academic programs, elok jadi TNCA. And if you want to be the number one, elok dalam semua aspek lah, termasuk governance of any university, right? So, but for admin staff, right? For admin staff, the idea is not to be lebih hebat daripada bursary kerajaan, but how now to use that knowledge that you have either in administration, in HR, or in finance, to use that knowledge to facilitate the development of the university. So I selalu kata, for all the admin, the aim of the game is to facilitate the development of the university, bukan block the development of the university. So if you now know that this pathway cannot, then it is your onus to find out which pathway membenarkan, so that the university does not get into trouble. Yeah, so that's one thing. So to be a leader, you must have the courage and the commitment to now be able to say, yeah, I'm going to be one, and only then can you speak with wisdom and be the voice of reason. So if you ask the question, how do I start to become a good or better leader? A lot of people say to me, a leader, you got to be born to be a leader. If you don't have it, you don't have it lah. But in Islam, it says that all of us are leaders. We are all born to be Khalifah. So we are leader in our own small group. We are also a leader. So don't sell yourself short. If you study from the scientific point of view, leadership traits or qualities that you have is only about 30% of your DNA. So the rest of that, you still need to learn, right? So leadership essentially can be learned. So leadership, learn that by taking on the worst assignments at work. The more you take on, the more you learn. The more mistake you make, the more you learn. So find a big problem and actually volunteer to solve it. So that's what it's all about. If you make mistakes, then you will learn from it. Of course, you can learn by observation, you can learn by reading, listening to this particular talk that I'm talking about. But at the end of the day, you're still not learning, pay a lot of money for the seminars and whatnot, to listen to top-notch people, who motivators and leadership speakers, So they give you a lot of information, but at the end of the day, when you hold the rein as a leader, you need to have that experiential, that practice to develop your leadership skills, right? And leaders learn by doing, through experience, through mistakes, and not by mere words. So reflect on your experiences, the mistakes you made, and then you adapt accordingly and create. This is the beauty about doing things on the ground. A lot of lecturers nanti kata, oh, that's not my KPI. Why should I do that job? Seperti apa? Organize annual dinner atau organize a seminar atau conference. What do I get out of that? Of course, daripada segi KPI tak ada apa, daripada segi in terms of publishing paper is not there, but think about this. If you now start working on the ground, you turun padang, you bekerjasama buat conference ke apa, you akan learn about perangai sekok-sekok yang ada dalam team tu. So that's how you, and also you now have a lot more handphone numbers in your handphone, because this is now you create a network, right? And that's how you know various people, and even their talent and capability, which you will never know if you don't mix dengan cara bersantai. So when you become a leader, you know people around you. This is the problem. You want to become leader in the university, but you don't know the people. At the end of the day, you lantik orang yang you tak faham dan you tak kenal. And how now you expect that person to deliver what you want, right? So essentially yang paling penting sekali, when you become a leader, you ought to know your people. And that's how you place round pegs in round holes. So this is very important to me if you want to be a leader. So experiential learning is important, networking is important, engaging, as I said, with the people is also very important. Of course, we now have COVID, which is an unprecedented global crisis that require global solutions. So the coronavirus pandemic basically has placed extraordinary demand on leaders in business and beyond. And of course, you see the death toll, you see the massive scale of the outbreak, and you see one after the other, Omicron lah, Delta lah, I don't know what else is coming soon, all right? But it is the sheer unpredictability of it all that makes it challenging for leaders to respond. So during the pandemic, leaders of the world basically have been tested via real-time leadership actions, their action, their communication, by an impatient global audience. Semua kata bila kedai nak buka because I'm not earning any income, and there was a lot of uproar and whatnot to the point that COVID is spreading fast. So basically, leaders of today must learn to lock down and reopen country, and at the same time walk on thin ice, trying to balance their health, the health of their population and the economy of the country, right? So COVID-19 is an unprecedented crisis that renders experience and expertise irrelevant. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. A lot of the times I will be discussing about this. We have been very reactive in how we run the university. And kita kata berdasarkan experience, kita kena buat macam ni. Tapi in facing unpredictable situation, actually it's unknown, especially COVID, right? It's unprecedented. Mana tidak ada report lagi macam mana nak handle dia. So and that makes you stand alone with an unknown. And when that happens, what's going to drive you forward is your character. And that is why values-based education becomes very important, because the character, that human being, that soul that you have, the values that is upon you is the one that is going to bring you forward. So during the crisis, which is ruled by unfamiliarity, by uncertainty, effective responses are largely improvised by trial and error. You have to act fast, but you do not wait to get the full data. If things are not working, act again to change. So you act on information obtained, and then you monitor the responses attained, right? So maknanya, first thing, it requires agile response. It requires you to be flexible. It requires you to be adaptable, all right? So whatever the future bring, one thing is certain, those in charge will be judged on how they manage this particular crisis. Of course, COVID is not the only one that is now causing the disruptive change to higher education. We have the Industry 4.0, the digital age, the global economic crisis, the global competition due to globalization, and now one more word that I need you to understand, kesihatan planet ataupun planetary health, with the global health, the climate change, and the environmental degradation that is now happening in the country. So basically, all this have created a disruptive change in our lives, in our livelihood, and a tsunami effect on higher education. In one word, it's called transformation. It has now generated transformation to higher education, especially, and therefore change is inevitable. So this is now life in 2022, right? So the new normal is already here. Tak payah cakap pasal new normal, the new normal is already here. So you have to get used to embracing uncertainties. And this is what we are all facing every day. But the question is, are we brave enough to lead the university to embrace uncertainties, right? So when we talk about facing uncertainties, let me first discuss, traditional versus agile organization. Traditional organization is mainly macam university lah, because that's why even as technology change, university hardly change, right? So traditional organization is built like a machine with a static, siloed, structural hierarchy that operates through linear planning and control to execute one or very few business models. What do I mean by structure? I mean, Hello, if you have a dean, that dean will need a steno, that dean will need an AR, that dean will need executive directors, and that dean will need all sorts of people to help. Immediately you create your triangle, right? Kalau nak jadi pengarah, kena ada driver, kena ada this, kena ada that. You tell me, kalau dalam public university we are so into structural hierarchy that if you are TNC you got to have all this, if you are VC you have to have all this, you have even dekan atau pengarah pun kena ada semua benda ni. Semua tu kita insist to have the structure hierarchy. So maknanya we will end up having a lot of people that we have to hire. But if you go to an IPTS, all this is now flat. Right, you can be TNC, you can be VC, you end up having to do a lot of things on your own. So that is the difference, and that's why in an IPTS they can be lean, but in an IPTA you have to hire so many people. At the end of the day, you don't have enough money, and you are sentiasa dalam deficit in terms of not being able to handle it all. So traditional organization model evolved primarily for stability in a well-known environment, and they do not embrace uncertainty very well. All right, so with the new normal, this is simply not on to hit a traditional organization like usually like an IPTA. So the traditional organization, let me tell you, cannot survive in the new normal where change is now a constant, right? So in Agile, if we now, as a university IPTA, for example, need to move now to become Agile, we have to be viewed as a living system. Kalau dalam microbiology, I panggil amoeba, they can shift and can move. So they evolve to thrive in an unpredictable, rapidly changing environment. So basically in this Agile organization, they embrace uncertainty and ambiguity. The organization is both stable, but at the same time also dynamic. That's what we want now to move into, stable plus dynamic. It's customer focused, is flexible, adaptable to environmental changes, and they are open, they are inclusive and non-hierarchical. So kalaulah sistem dalam IPTA boleh jatuh dan create this flat administration, then we probably can be a much more leaner organization. Of course, you will tell me, macam mana nak fire all the people we hire? So that is another matter altogether. So agile organizations are far better equipped than the traditional one for the future. So of course, dalam IPTA, kalau kita nak tukar something, and the first thing we will ask, why? Why? We all need to embrace change. We know that in order to stay relevant. But again, when asked to change, the immediate reaction will be why. Why do we want to do SDG? We were doing okay without having to do SDG. Why do I need to now undergo collaborative work? What's wrong with me having turf? All right, I'm siloed. I like the way I do things. Right, I'm in my own kuliah. I don't have now to be able to relate to other people. So why are we talking about sejahtera? Why are we not? What's wrong with the way we do things before? So humans are naturally resistant to change. So it is not uncommon for people to fight change very hard and always wanting to go back to the old ways lah. I don't care lah about normal ke, new normal ke, apa ke. We need to go back to the old way, and this probably is not the time for us to discuss to go back to the old way, because managing their resistance to change is going to be the real challenge for the leaders of tomorrow, today and tomorrow, right? And failure to manage it effectively is one of the chief reasons why the organization will fail. So the failures can also be driven by insufficient planning, failure to seize opportunity when opportunity is there, tak buat, and failure to stop problem before they cause the failure, and even failure to find the right partner for collaboration to move forward. So if you have resistance to change, all right, this will inevitably also result in resistance to transformation. Remember, transformation memang overhaul semua, tetapi change is smaller changes that need to be done. So I need to discuss also why human beings are resistant to change, right? Basically, kalau kita nak become change makers, right, we need to now move from denial to action. The first thing is that we have a problem, and the people in denial, there is no problem, we are okay, or they go to the second level, yes, there is a problem, but it's not my responsibility. Habis dia blame culture, religion, system, TNC, VC, ni semua lah, everybody, their spouse, whatever, the family, the graduate student, they blame semua except diri dia. So the third one, there is a problem, but I have my doubts, or I'm afraid of taking risks. Yes, there is a problem. They admit, tapi I'm afraid of taking risks. I prefer to be on the safe side. Yes, there is a problem, but give me more information lah before I nak buat action. Or yes, there's a problem, I'm ready to try some action. Or admittedly that yes, there's a problem, and I'm going to be the change agent. So basically, how now are we going to cope with the new normal? Basically, we need change agile leaders. So if the university wants to succeed in changing what needs to be done, it needs leaders, either male or female, who can be agile in the face of change. These are called change agile leaders, right? Agile in the face of change. And these leaders who can productively lead change will include promoting opportunity ataupun meeting resistance positively, overcoming it and avoiding unnecessary pitfalls and mistakes. You dah tahu that kalau you buat action ni, it will create a lot of problems. So please don't start to do that. So avoid the unnecessary pitfalls or mistake. And we also need leaders who can pivot and who can turn around and learn new skills and new ways of doing things. Tapi kalau leader pun sendiri, oh, I'm so confused, don't confuse me with any more things, mampu you. So basically, you need to now have leaders who can pivot and learn new skills and new ways of doing things. That means that leaders got to be agile, flexible, adaptable, but if necessary, will stick to the course when needed. So if that is the case, I'm talking about change, and you're asking me to talk also about transformational leadership. So what are the differences, right? Is it apple and macam sama je ke, ataupun there is an apple-orange kind of difference, right? So post-COVID, what did I say many times? Post-COVID require leadership to be agile, to be flexible, to be adaptable. And to do this, the organization needs to undergo both change and transformation. Okay, apa maksud change? Apa maksud transformation? Change can be small and incremental, or it can be large and complex. But change is always in response to some external influence, where modifying the day-to-day action achieve the desired results. Maknanya the response to external influence coming in, all right? But it's something that needs to be constantly monitored and maintained. For example, okay, ada tak Senate punya minute yang kata macam ni? Ada tak LGU punya minute yang kata macam ni? So basically, kalau ikut cara lama, you have the AR in charge of Senate minutes yang menjadi walking encyclopedia of Senate minutes, right? But if you now computerize all of this, then by search engine, you will find that topic, and all the minutes regarding that topic will now come out. So basically, that is a change akibat external influence. Because of the need to form a governance framework or to form policy, you need to now to go back to the minutes of 1983 or whatever. And this is where having a search engine to now find all these things is very important. So that means you say every minute, everything that you have need to be computerized. All right, but transformation is different. It's almost a large and very significant. Transformation is about modifying the internal core beliefs of why you perform certain action in the organization. And that transformation may not require any external influence to maintain, but it does require the foundation shift from within itself. So maknanya, like for example, COVID-19 is causing a digital transformation, all right, in the way we do things. So transformation paling besar I see is COVID-19, which is the catalyst for transformation. Because with COVID-19, suddenly overnight, boleh pula kita buat online learning, because the higher education blueprint sejak 2015 have been asking the universities to do online learning, tak buat juga. Tapi bila my COVID March 18 March 2020, within 2 months, semua orang dah tukar pergi ke online learning, alright? And everybody was masa lockdown, Grab become very important, Grab taxi, Grab food, online shopping, now My Sejahtera, everywhere we go, people know where we are going because that is tracer tracking, and wow, dulu tak boleh work from home, sekarang ni boleh pula work from home. So these are the kind of things that is causing transformation. That is what transformation is all about. Maknanya dia complete turnaround of what of the things that you really believe that you must come at 8:30, punch in, and now work from home, right? So transformation is fundamental in nature, and when it's done right, the transformation will have a permanent and far-reaching impact throughout the organization. So in short, mastering change will enable the organization to keep up with fast shifting consumer expectation ataupun environmental changes that need fast action, but deliberate planned transformation often redefines what success will look like and how you're going to get there. So I hope you understand yang small change due to external influence, yang every day you buat tapi you improve things, that is a change. But if you now transform, you actually now turn around the internal core beliefs of the organization itself and driving it forward. So how now to be a change agile leader? Will need a new sets of capabilities for agile transformation. First, to be the agile change, you need to transform yourself to evolve new personal mindset and behavior. You must understand what is the new landscape, and then you got to align now to the new landscape, right? Second, first transform yourself. Second is to in order to transform yourself, you have to stretch your comfort zone and find new ways of doing things, and that is transforming the team. So transform yourself, transform the team, and the third one is to build the capability of the organization by building agility into the design and culture of the whole organization. So in short, to build and lead a change agile organization, it's crucial that leaders develop new mindsets and capabilities to actually transform themselves, transform the team, transform the organization. All right. So tiga perkara ni harus ada lah if you want to see change in the university. And paling difficult is to transform yourself. All right. And transform yourself is shifting from a reactive to a creative mindset. So changing our mindset or adjusting to the new context is not easy, because it's developing our inner agility to essentially release our potential to lead an agile transformation. So reactive or socialized mindset are the outside way in of experiencing the world based on reacting to what happened on the outside. So creative or self-authoring mindset are the inside out way of experiencing the world based on creating our reality through tapping on our authentic self, our character, our values that we uphold, our core passion and our purpose, right? So research shows that most adults will spend a lot of time reacting, particularly when challenged. Kalau challenge kita akan react, right? So kalau berdebat dalam majlis, terus kita ada cara yang kita react, right? So this is reactive, and this is how traditional organizations are destined to run. They are running on reactive. But to build an agile organization, right, tak kisah man or woman, whoever is in the lead, or the people involved in that organization, you need to now make this personal shift of creating that change from the inside out, right? Because as Mahatma Gandhi says, if you want to change the world, you got to start with yourself, okay? And how now do you move the team? All right, so you are dekan, you are pengarah, you are director or something. How do you move the teams and the organization, right? First, you move people by clarity of purpose. Berapa kali dah saya nak kata yang ni lah. People will move according to the stories that they understand. If they have to change, why they have to change guna certain technology, why they have to change to do research dengan cara collaboration or responsible research and innovation, why now do we have to share information, all that. So the objective, the process, even the culture of why you ask them now to do this kind of thing, they can and they will follow you for as long as they understand why, and they can see the changes are working towards something that they all believe in. So the reason for change must be very compelling to attain the buy-in. So people do not want change for the sake of change, and demonstrate empathy. And one way that you can get the buy-in is to demonstrate empathy by placing people as priority, bukan technology, bukan the organization, but the people working for the organization as a priority. So you need to display, when you're doing this, people kata percaya ke orang ni kan. So you need to also display honesty, integrity, trustworthiness. If we don't trust you as a leader, we will not follow you. All right, we will obey you, but we have no respect for you. So lead by example. Remember what I said, that what you do has greater impact than what you say. So like I always say, if you tak mampu if you the kind of person who travel by business class even for meetings in KL or in Penang or whatever, and then you tell your subordinate, oh kita tak ada wang operasi, so semua orang kena travel less, walaupun you punya kelayakan adalah business, or can you travel economy, or can you travel classless as in Firefly. So and then people board the plane, they see you in the business class and using wang operasi. Hello, this is simply not on. So that's why I said, if you cannot uphold the values, then don't be one, or even don't even put that value in, right? So sometimes being a leader, satu lagi, remember, that is why I keep remember that what you do has greater impact than what you say. I mean, you can say sweet things, you can say wonderful things to the people as they listen, but they know you cannot deliver. So sometimes being a leader is not, of course, it's about you proposing some good ideas, right? But at other times, it's also okay to empower people to tell you about their good ideas and support them. Ini orang, you dengar good idea, you dengar things that need to be done, tapi you tak mau, because you tak mau buat benda tu because this idea did not come from you. And if it doesn't come from you, then habislah, macam mana dia popular kan? So that's why I say a good leader is not a person who feel threatened, tak? Dia secure, dia okay, dia boleh handle kalau idea tu tak mai daripada dia, tapi idea tu come from other people, but they empower that idea and they support these people now. So another thing when you move is to see opportunities in the future. And when you tell people about the compelling thing to change, right? Will the change lead to better product or better service? Or will more students register kalau you buat dengan cara ni? Or will you enhance the market share? Or will what change that MSD does, will that enhance work-life balance, right? So can you create happiness index in the organization? So even if the organization is not there yet, the change agile leader needs to be able to visualize it. And the other part of it is to deep dive and discover what areas are not functioning. When something is not working, you need to create the environment where people would share with you how now to make it better. And then so it's not about the leader or top management making decision and the rest follow, right? So it's about we making that decision together to move the organization. So when you demonstrate this sensitivity and when you're doing this planning, understanding the stress, anxiety, and frustration people around you, you got to also have this high EQ, emotional quotient, and cultural intelligence, and of course the ability to guide the team through planning and implementation of the changes. And change agile leaders also should encourage risk-taking and experimentation to a degree. Sometimes, the money is tight. Of course, there is risk-taking, but you have to now try to see, sometimes you take money to make money. So at that time, be prudent about how now you want to move forward. And the other one is to create partnership. This is the other part, right? Kita lebih suka create partnership dengan universiti yang international daripada universiti yang local. So we need to, in Islam, you have to be taking care of your neighbors. So basically all the universities around you should be able to collaborate before you pergi kepada other universities, right? Within our university itself, I think inter-department, inter-kuliah, inter-faculty, whatever needs to happen. Dalam one kuliah also, dalam one faculty also, inter-department are not talking to each other. What is this, right? So basically in periods of change, official partnership are important, tetapi partnership dalaman is more important as well. So if that is the case, right, where you insist on partnership, collaboration, inter-department, inter-kuliahs or inter-schools within that same university, all right. So for me, I think the best thing is to change the and of course, universities need to work with the quadruple helix, right? Dengan industry, dengan government agencies, dengan academia, dengan society, encourage teamwork, and you make this as the KPI of the university. If the dean is now collaborating with other deans within the same university, you give more marks. But because we need to break this turf mindset, this very silo, because why? Salah top management juga, because you are the one who give the KPI for this particular kuliah, for this particular school to have X number of papers, X number of patent, X number of innovation, X number of this and X number of that. So when you do that, then the dekan become very tough-minded. So whoever dekan listening and pengarah listening, this is where you break that, right? So when you break, the more you collaborate, the more marks you get. And this KPI does not come from KPT. This KPI come from top management. So at the end of the day, kalau Myra marks ke apa ke ataupun ranking, they're looking at the university. They're not looking at HPTJ. So this is the mindset change that top management university, when you're laying down the KPI, need to see. The more papers that come out, the more papers that particular university will have. So how we do it is now working together. So I think we need to learn to reduce turf or silo mindset by what I call reverse KPI. Okay, so facing uncertainties, are women better at handling this crisis? When discussing about careers of women leaders, there is a phenomenon called glass cliff and then glass ceiling. I think semua wanita pernah dengar dah pasal glass ceiling, but this new term glass cliff is coming published in Harvard Business Review of 2020. Glass ceiling describes that usual invisible barrier lah to advancement for women that women face when they're up for promotion, right? But the glass cliff is the idea when a company or organization is in trouble, bagi kat wanita. Okay, and why does this happen? And then are women better at handling crisis, or is this a real test of leadership, or saja-saja nak perkenal wanita and that's how they do? Nak jadi leader sangat? Okay, here, take this broken organization, see whether you can make a difference to this broken organization. Ironically, when women are finally given the chance to prove themselves in a senior position, they are handed down something that is already broken or where the chance of failure is very high. The question is, did they survive? The answer is a big yes. So when 360-degree review, a sample size of 60,000 leaders in the United States, this was done by a Harvard Business School, either pre-pandemic or during the pandemic, the women, as you can see, outscored the men at all times, outscored the men on most of the leadership effectiveness and leadership competencies, and this is graded by the majority men, 60,000 leaders that they asked as part of the sample size. So women are made better leaders pre or during the pandemic, and you can see that happening because a study about women leaders around the world showed that they have more success in slowing down the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic and its general outcome. So the countries that are led by very alpha male, like United States, masa Trump dulu, United Kingdom, India, Russia, Brazil, all these are the difference. There were a lot more death in those alpha male-led countries, and there's a lot of very good outcome from female-led countries. So the success stories have to do with the leadership style that are in general associated with women leaders. As you can see in New Zealand, we have Jacinda Ardern was able to officially declare the country COVID-free, and is one of the first countries in the world to do so by placing empathy. She placed the health of the people in front and not the economy of the country. So she shut down New Zealand. Germany, Angela Merkel, who's also a scientist, While the European neighbors were struggling, Germany was okay, and she find again the solutions to how to handle COVID by science and data to help her. So both the women leaders, and I think there are others in Scandinavia that also takes the lead. So both women leaders showed what? Empathy by placing people first over economy. So if you were to study this, then you say, okay, leadership qualities among women that handle better, what kind of quality? Number one is that they demonstrate empathy. In times of crisis, we deal with the human tragedy as the first priority. So women are more aware of the fears that people face when in crisis. They engage the people very well, and need for survival and family well-being is very important to people when they are faced with COVID. Masa tu tak ada vaksin kan, ramai orang meninggal dan sebagainya. So all this sensitivity, high EQ, right? So and women handle this because satu, as a mother, this genetic traits just kick in to be protective over the family. In this case, the family is the country. So they use to, and of course women juggle banyak kerja, used to balance large numbers of responsibilities. So selalunya at home, at work, we handle it all. So women leaders place greater importance on interpersonal skill, like inspires and motivates, communicates very powerfully, encourage collaborative teamwork, relationship building, all of this, of which women leaders were rated quite high. In fact, United Nations keluar statement that during COVID, the leadership style of women leaders in COVID-19 response have been described as more collective rather than very individual, more collaborative rather than competitive, and more coaching rather than commanding. So women as leaders are now seen as transformational, relational, and collaborative leadership. And this essentially is the essence of values-based leadership, right? So then the next question is, okay lah, itu wanita, but as a whole, what kind of leadership is needed post-COVID? So post-COVID, leaders who can, I say, pivot, that is agile, flexible, adaptable, leaders that empower others and allow people to grow. They emphasize on employee development, even when times are tough, finance is not there, display honesty, integrity, trustworthiness, and demonstrate empathy by placing people as priority, and they cannot also be hungry when holding the post. There's nothing worse than you have a dean who's still hungry, therefore all information bila VC bring down, kata, oh ada scholarship, ada meeting, this benda ni yang boleh dibayar oleh universiti, oh dia ambil dulu. So this is why I said leaders cannot afford to be hungry while holding the post. You have to say who is the best person to go, and you are the last person on the list while you are holding that post. So demonstrate sensitivity, understanding of stress, etc. A team player, emphasize on collaboration and sharing information. This is the kind of leadership required post-COVID-19. Of course, tomorrow, therefore, is about values-based leadership, and that will now emphasize on the ability for people to become change makers, and all this behavior or roles are often displayed by wanita. So this is where we say kalau nak berlaku post-COVID, women leadership is playing a very important role here. So if with that is so, women as leaders, are we there yet? Kalau tengok population demography, we find that in 2021, 16.8 million lelaki, 15.9 million wanita. So basically, there's a lot more men than there is women, right? And if we look at qualification, who gets more highly educated? Wanita, wanita gets to be undergraduate, postgraduate, more highly qualified adalah wanita. But if you look at employment, we find that there are more males being hired than there are females. So women are more qualified in terms of education than men, but are employed less in the country. Maybe, okay, this is just superficial, tak boleh buat apa-apa lagi, tindakan ataupun deep dive, but just superficial looking at the data. And if you look at women in decision making in Malaysia, we find that 38.2% are in civil service. Maknanya dalam IPTA ramai adalah wanita. Padahal gender policy for apa kita punya RMK12 was to strive for 30% ataupun 1.78 million women should be in the decision making in either public or private But unfortunately for private sector, only 25.8%, and based on representation of women as board of directors in 100 of the major public university. Kalau dalam parlimen, dalam Dewan Rakyat, 15%, women senators also 15%. So kita nampak di sini that gender parity is achieved in service, but not in the private sector. 38.2 okay lah, but in the Beijing conference yang kita janji adalah to go to 50% wanita in decision making. So gender parity for now is okay, beyond 30%, but we need to strive for more. But if you are now considering where are the wanita in, I told you kan, wanita are more highly qualified, and if you look at all the universities, either public or private, there are more women coming into the university compared to the males. Ini adalah data ya, but maknanya dalam Malaysia, accessibility to higher education is not a problem for women. It's not a problem. Kita, in fact, banyak wanita daripada lelaki yang masuk pada universiti. But access to higher education does not translate, ladies and gentlemen, to women leadership in higher education. Kalau kita lihat di sini, this is total number of academics. Ya. We find that the lecturers, male ada about 39.2, female is about 60.8. So there's a lot more female coming into the university. If you campur dengan guru-guru, lagi lah banyaknya female. But at the end of the day, how many professors do we have? Right, 36.1%. How many professors do we have among the males? 63.9. Walaupun masuknya sikit, majority of the males end up to be professor. Masuknya banyak, end up 36% sahaja, 36% sahaja wanita end up as a professor. So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, in Malaysia, there is a leaky pipeline where lesser women get to be promoted professor, lesser women get to become VC, lesser women get to become TNCs, right? So this is why I say it just because you come into the university, become at the end of the day to get promoted and whatnot, gets lesser and lesser. So this is IIUM statistics itself. For the interest of IIUM people, I pun baru dapat statistics ni last night, and it shows that overall lebih ramai wanita daripada lelaki, kaum Hawa lebih ramai daripada kaum Adam yang berada di dalam IIUM. Dan kita lihat dari segi administration, again there are more females than there are males in the administration. And if we have along the line of the academics, we find that the female is about 56.3%, the male is about 43.7%. And overall, there are more female staff, and among the admin, there are also more females. Among academics, there are more females. And we have in IUM, 3 women are in the top management, 4 women as dean, and 14 women as directors. All in all, we have about, my last calculation was 31%. So basically, gender parity is there. We have the sex disaggregated data like we have here is very important to keep track and monitor gender equality status at IUM, because it's part of the SDG and the gender parity. I asked last night, 21 out of 46 adalah wanita, wanita dalam dekan, wanita sebagai top management, wanita as director. So gender parity in IUM is about 31%. So alhamdulillah, actually that's satisfied, but of course we need to strive to go towards 50%. All right. So despite the achievement, despite the fact that I said that the leadership qualities of women can handle this even better, this does not translate to women leadership in higher education. You have to ask the question why. Why do women hold back? Why is there a decline in leadership at decision-making level? So if we have all these great skills, why are we holding back, or are we held back? So the thing is, number one is the fear of failure. Because wanita memang takut, ya, the wrong decision, wrong words said dalam meeting will cost women their job, their reputation, their success. Dekan akan nampak tak bagi SKT tinggi ataupun tak promote dia dan sebagainya. So we do not, the thing is, sometimes, as you will see, majority do not value the work that women do, which if everyone started to fight for the same job, then the women will face the risk of losing out over their male counterparts. And I will discuss about this. This is called unconscious biasness, right? And then we talk about family matters, work-life balance. They're torn between work and family, and starting a family actually will make the employer start to think that the woman is vulnerable, inefficient, unmotivated. Therefore, Allah, nanti kan dia beranak. That means berapa lama, 9 bulan dengan muntah, dengan whatever. Oh my God. Hello, being beranak, being pregnant is penyakit buatan orang. Siapa orang yang membuatnya jadi pregnant? So basically, all these things need to be looked into, and therefore, bila dia undergo this pregnancy and whatnot, cannot spend enough time and concentration on the job. And then at the end of it, ada juga di kalangan kita yang ada inferiority complex. Some actually believe that men are stronger and they make better leaders, they have better ideas and more equipped to achieve success. Yang ni saya tak boleh buat apalah. So, and the end of the day, there's also no policy yang menyatakan, okay, you know, X number of percent of nomination from the university to become the TNC or to become the BC must be wanita. Tak ada that policy. So there's no written policy on that matter. So maknanya it's up to the board, it's up to the kaki tangan academic society to now decide. Then pada amnya nama lelaki lah keluar. Tapi kalau ada that policy, then ada lelaki tapi ada nama perempuan. So maknanya bagi masuk gelanggang je, bukan nak jadi BC lagi. Bagi masuk gelanggang, dia masuk gelanggang pun tak, macam mana nak jadi BC, right? So this is the thing that sometimes this kind of thinking need to be there when we want to go forward because of the barriers. Because you know, I rasa this is my opportunity to cerita, because a lot of the time when we talk about with the title tu ada women in leadership, insyaAllah lelaki tak masuk dah dalam ni. So I'm hoping that a lot of men are listening, because it's not easy for women to be in top management, because at any given point in the woman's career, she's likely to experience one or more of these barriers. And these barriers, what barriers? Pihak lelaki akan kata, barriers ni, ladies and gentlemen, can be obvious, but there are other times concealed behind other agenda. This is called, sometimes the barrier is invisible, is unconscious biasness, right? So research has found that it is the unconscious or hidden bias that is really problematic, okay? And these barriers are the barriers that hinder women's career advancement, including emotional intelligence and gender culture, and how these differences actually impact leadership. Memang ada yang kata, tak ada, pasal apa perempuan jadi VC? Tak ada lelaki ke? Takkanlah tak ada lelaki yang qualified. Pasal apa perempuan jadi head of JAKIM? Tak ada lelaki ke? So this kind of question is all about your gender culture, the gender lens that you wear, because of the fact that you were trained like that. And you know what's very important is that topic on gender is not even taught as a kursus or as a mandatory kursus to all the students daripada sekolah sampai ke university. So reasons for this gap between men and women are multifactorial, are deep-seated, and they have existed for generations. It's not only in Malaysia, it's everywhere. So problematic belief and perceptions are held by both men and women. Ada, like I say, ada women yang kata memang kena bagi kat lelaki itu lead. Ada yang men yang kata, no, this is not the place for wanita, this is a place for lelaki. So in these reasons that make the problem a very difficult problem to address. And COVID has a great impact on women in the workforce, right? Work from home, sedap cakap, tapi it has a great impact on women more than men. And when I talk based on studies. I don't talk about pada hemah saya. So instead of just taking care of the job requirement and the target, the women job now includes childcare, homeschooling, and taking care of the elderly, the cooking, the cleaning. Sebab tu bila saya ada meeting, when I chair some meetings, and then a video of semua ada dalam meeting tapi video off. I memang suka tanya orang tu, boleh jawab tak soalan yang saya tanya ni, because I tahu video off, benda ni audio mode, but you are doing something else, right? Duk masak ke, duk basuh baju ke apa. So but with these virtual meetings that we are having, we are always on. Tak kisahlah lelaki ke perempuan, dalam aspek waktu-waktu sekarang ni, everything about us is always on, available for work at all hours of the day, especially for me, like international conferences, like 4 a.m. in the morning, I have to get up to be able to link with Vancouver or Canada or UK. So this shows a workforce that is faced with a lot of stress, pressure, job loss, financial insecurities, pay cuts, etc. So this result in mental health, in exhaustion and burnout for housewives and working mothers. And studies have shown that these burnouts are higher among women than among men. And this combination of unyielding targets, mana KPI still kena ada, the lack of support from the superiors sebab tak ada staff well-being being enforced, many women consider taking leave of absence or leaving the workforce. And when they leave the workforce, in the United States, 2 million women left the workforce because tak boleh tahan dah. So, and when there's now fewer women, now there are fewer women also to be promoted to become leaders, right? So all the progress that we have seen over the years to move women have all been reduced. And the COVID-19 is also, as I said, it's not easy, it's not difficult only for wanita. Laki-laki pun difficult juga because of the fact this many organizations have taken important steps, obviously, to handle this COVID by giving support to the employees. They expanded the mental health facilities, counseling, etc., provide tools and resources to help employees manage computer, make sure internet facility are there, employees, but at the end of the day, the employees are still expected to meet all the targets and even exceed them. So they are still expected to get the job done, and delays is therefore not an option. So macam mana ni? So that's why we say now the end game is that work from home is there, but the stress factor in the workplace is high because expectations are still the same. So how can we do differently? So this is what I'm saying. Maybe policies need to be there to generate supportive ecosystem to facilitate women as leaders and also upward movement of the women. Like I said, policy must be there so that women candidates must be nominated to be leaders in the public or private sector at all levels of decision making. You need to have policies. Like sekarang pun, kalau nak jadi dekan, you need to now kata X% must be women. Mungkin this is where MSD can play the role, or even UMC to make that decision, because this is university level. This is not asking permission from anybody, right? So this is top management being sensitive to the fact about how now you want to create a supportive ecosystem, bukan support wanita saja, but support the ecosystem to facilitate women to become leaders and upward movement of the women. And also you need to have policies that will allow and facilitate wanita to return to the workforce after childcare leave of absence. And then I also nak tegur lah, facilities for breastfeeding. I mean, a lot of women were pumping milk in the toilet lah, dekat surau lah, and all this does not even meet World Health Organization punya cleanliness. And then on top of that, saya dapat bahawa wanita bila dia pump susu, dia masukkan dalam fridge yang sama dengan dekat dalam pantry yang ada nasi lemak lah apa benda, yang ni. Hello, kita kalau bukan nak kata lah, IIUM is in a very good position sebab semua top management dia, MSD, finance, semua adalah wanita. So therefore, it should be now made as a policy to actually have an area, location, bukan dalam surau tapi dalam jabatan atau dalam kuliah tu sendiri. Setiap kuliah, part and parcel of happiness index mesti menyediakan. I mean, boleh saja, bukannya tak boleh. I did that in USM, so it can be done. So bottom line is that is the thinking lah. Tapi kalau wanita tidak pernah menyuarakan ini problem dia face, macam mana top management nak ambil iktibar tentang perkara ni? Tapi kalau kita cakap dengan permintaan yang rasional, yang menasabah, hello, cleaners are also women. So jangan kata, oh tak apalah kita ada academic staff, kita ada bilik sendiri. Tapi kaki tangan support tak ada bilik sendiri. So where are they going to do all this pumping of breast milk? Basically, we are helping to grow a future nation builder, right? All babies are future nation builders. So kenapa tak boleh fikir tentang perkara-perkara macam ni, right? So ada lagi lah yang saya tak payahlah, nanti dia panggil nagging pula. So support measures that increase the visibility of women in STEM or STEM pathway. Itu pun something that needs to be there. You know, so recognize women's contribution in the workplace. Yang ni saya kena celoteh jugalah. Women frequently is volunteered to do what I call office housework. Like, nak dapatkan coffee atau cake, asal sell tickets for annual dinners, ataupun sports event, nak pergi beli hadiah, bungkus hadiah, ataupun all that. Semua ni kita bagi pada wanita. Alright, and then this work is time consuming, people, and is often not recognized. Of course, bila event tu hebat, the ketua of this entire event is kaum Adam lah. So dia dapat all the very good. Tapi yang bagi dia look good is the kaum Hawa. So but bottom line, this kind of work requires a lot of time, a lot of input, but it's not recognized. So bottom line sekarang ni, ambil minit mesyuarat. Kenapa wanita? Kenapa kalau ambil minit mesyuarat dalam department atau kuliah mesti wanita? Wah, orang lelaki pun hello boleh ambil minit mesyuarat kan. So therefore maybe we should now turn around from volunteering people to assigning tasks. Hello, this is something MSD can actually do, assign tasks rather than volunteer people, so that you ensure that there is an even gender distribution in doing that kind of a job. So to make well-informed decision, you need to have a policy to actually ensure availability of sex disaggregated data at all levels. Barulah sekarang you boleh buat an informed decision. Because remember, at the end of the day, for wanita to be in leadership, she has to go through a lot more difficulties, not to mention about work-life balance, the difficulty of barriers, which is conscious or unconscious, is also there, and that's deep-seated and it's very difficult to do. But at the end of the day, for the siapa yang jadi leader, remember that success is not counted by how high you have climbed, but by how many people you brought with you. So with that, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum. Sharizat, back to you.
Yes. Thank you, Prof. Thank you. Subhanallah. Wow, I think I've been, it is when I look at the clock or the watch of my laptop, actually you have, we have been listening to you for more than 1 hour. As I mentioned, if let's say kita permit lagi, Prof, I think you can move on to even until lunch, but I don't feel like we have, sit down and listen to like more than 1 hour. I just, I just like tadi mula-mula kita dengar you mentioned about thankless job. Okay, being a leader is a thankless job. I note it down. Okay, so I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 pages of notes here. Subhanallah. And I think we can open the session to what we call it, to question and answers. And how do we manage this, admin?
Wow, Tan Sri pun ada listening.
Thank you, Tan Sri.
Banyak celoteh saya hari ini. Wah, bagus lah kita number one sini dengar.
Okay. Now, just to share with everyone, we have in the YouTube 140 viewers, Prof, and webinar ada lebih kurang 200, more than 200 lah ni. Yeah. So alhamdulillah. Okay, and 2 persons or 2 people raise their hand before I share what I have written. Let us just listen to what these 2 person has to say. One of it, of course, alamak, kita nak bagi Tan Sri dulu ke?
Rektor dulu lah, bagi rektor dulu.
Macam baru nak bagi orang lain dulu. Okay, fine. Alright. Okay, please.
Let's hear from him first.
Tan Sri.
Come from him first.
Thanks, thanks Sharizat, and thanks Asma for that inspiring. So I was listening behind. I wasn't meant to ask question, but somebody say join the panel so that you ask questions. So I thought I would, and I have got one burning question to ask, and this has been for a long time, because as you have said, I agree. I think almost wholeheartedly what you say, that leadership is about the human person. The gender comes second, but somehow or rather, because our society has been structured to be what's the word?
Patriarchal.
Yes, I can't even pronounce that. And therefore the slant is of course toward the male thing, and therefore saya punya question is in IIUM. I've been asking about the same thing. There are a lot of women performers. If you go to the last convocation, I've been counting how many male graduates won anugerah. Seorang naik, we are very happy. But before that, probably 5 women. And
Times are changing.
yes, and that is a public statement. That's a
Yeah.
public statement that you cannot deny. Yeah, but yet when you talk about leadership, how many of them are actually in the leadership position? So this is a question that I've been grappling with. At one point, I think we have got one deputy rector who is a female, Prof. Farida. Yeah. And then after that, we do not have any more deputy rector who are female. Not that because they are not good, but somehow or other the system does not work to their favor, as you said, glass ceiling or whatever terms that you want to use, until I have to recruit the librarian to be part of the UMC so that there is at least a female representative. Now we have 2, we have the MSD and finance, alhamdulillah. But still, I think it should be more equilibrate in that particular sense. Probably 50-50 would be good. But kalau tidak pun more than that. So my question to you is basically, how do you overcome this? What is the formula that we need to put in place? Probably sometimes kadang-kadang UIA ni dia terlampau modest that they don't want to volunteer themselves. You know, they don't want to be upfront because to some of them is showing off. It really depends on how you look at it. If you go there for your own ego, then it's showing off. If you go there because of something else, then you are not. So it's about you rather than about where. So the question that I want to put forward to you, I think we need to resolve this, because when I talk to the public about the success of the university, and we are very proud, and I'm very proud to say that 65% of our students are women and they are doing well. And the next question is, how many of them are in the top management? Then I'm caught. You know, and I'm caught. So these are very real questions, and it's also a very real question for the men. Where are they in this particular context? I'm not saying that we should compete, but they should be equally visible. They could be easily at the forefront. As the women, we cannot be hiding under somebody else's skirt. This is not the time to do so. So what is your response to this? And that's probably the only question that I want to ask, inshallah.
Yeah, I think I've answered some of them. Right, number one, there is no policy, a written policy. You know, because I'm with ACAP. I said to ACAP that you need to have some policy that when you write to the universities to say mencalonkan TNC atau mencalonkan Naib Chancellor, calon-calon itu for certain percentage must be there, mesti wanita. So kalau ada macam tu, then they have to put some female names inside there. Bagi saya, bagi masuk gelanggang, sama ada dapat tak dapat, that's another problem. Tetapi masukkan gelanggang dulu, because when I sit on the selection committee, tak ada wanita. I'm saying, hello, what? Kalau tak ada wanita, apa yang diangkat naik to the final selection committee, there is no wanita punya nama. So therefore sampai macam tu, bila nak jadi TNC bagi wanita, right? So TNC ke VC ke? Okay, itu satu. Kedua, daripada segi policy of the university itself, of which you are director. So basically, kenapa tak kata dalam semua pelantikan, pencalonan untuk dekan atau pengarah, adakan berapa persen wanita? Like when I was in TUAS, for example, Third World Academy of Science, mesti 15% mesti wanita. Dan on top of that, bila saya buat the selection for mereka menjadi members, dia bagi extra mark untuk wanita to cover for the fact that work-life balance for her is you know, that they salute, therefore they give extra mark. So starting off sebagai wanita, dia dapat extra mark, and then on top of that, certain percentage of the selection must be wanita. Dalam academic science, when I became president, it was 16%. Now 22% wanita. I tried to improve, tapi tak boleh. Tan Sri, kenapa? 36% saja professor. So out of this professor, how many are 10% of the elite? lagilah kurang. So that's why I cannot increase the number. Tetapi di dalam council 50-50. Council of it, because when we bring this up to the members masa AGM, they voted to have 50-50. 50% wanita, 50% lelaki. Satu lagi, kenapa KPI dalam universiti tak tukar? Rather than tengok the numbers, kenapa tak tengok the output? The outcome, mana the result of that. Maybe that is better kepada wanita. Ketiga, for all the things that I said as office housework tu tadi, kenapa tak ada recognition? Kenapa perkara ni menjadi lumrah bagi wanita lakukan? A lot of work, a lot of hours, Tan Sri, even to write minutes of mesyuarat, it's a lot of hours. Tapi all this is not recognized. So that's why I said maybe we should now turn around the university by doing this assignment, assigning tasks rather than volunteering nama-nama orang untuk melakukan. So these are the top management punya problem. Tetapi bila saya sendiri tanya kepada kaum Hawa, kenapa you tak mau? They don't want to handle the politics of it. This is a fact. When you now become the number 1 or number 2 or even the dean, there's a lot of politics. They just don't want to handle that politics. So pening kepala, dah work-life balance pun dah cukup pening. Now nak jadi dekan dengan handling of majlis, dengan all sorts of whatever, they don't want to handle it. So itu bagi saya wanita yang mungkin tak ready lah. Tapi bagi wanita yang dah ready, then this is a potential for them to now move. Satu lagi apabila dia bersuara, ni troublemaker ni, malah bahasa lah ni troublemaker, selalu je komplain. Dia tampak sebagai komplain, dia tak nampak sebagai, so that's why saya kata cara kita menyuarakan pun problem pasal breastfeeding area. Mungkin menyediakan breastfeeding area, mungkin kita boleh menyuara dengan cara berhemah, dengan cara rasional supaya benda ni dapat kita pick up. But while I'm talking about it, Tan Sri, kenapa tak buat dekat UIA? Memang you can do that, it can happen, right? Because ini hanya
but we have opened the gelanggang. We have opened the gelanggang. For example, if we talk about outcomes and KPI, I think the university punya position is there's no KPI. You write your own KPI if you want a KPI. If you don't want a KPI, you do so. But the uptake is also not there because not to write a KPI is more difficult than writing a KPI.
Betul.
Yeah. So some people come back to me and say, let's have my KPI back because I know I'm going to write 2 articles rather than having to plan something which has no KPI and I have to tell you how to evaluate me. So this whole thinking process I think needs to come in. And this is when you talk
I think the thinking process of
mindset
how to do differently needs to come in and we need to show them alternative macam mana. So I think mungkin terkejut kot bila dia kata write your own KPI because benda ni tak pernah dibuat orang kan. So selalunya KPI is given. So mungkin UIA can be the first university untuk menyediakan some sort of structure so that they can decide, okay, ini rupanya acceptable as a potential KPI. So itulah Tan Sri, that's something. Satu lagi women leaders ada dalam sini kata perceived to be moody, controlled by their monthly whatever. Tapi saya rasa lah dalam, as I said, leadership is genderless. If you find the right person, all these things, these aspects will not be there. So it's a matter of training, Tan Sri. To me kan, training and competency for leadership need to be there at IIUM or at any university. Sebab nak jadi dekan ni bukan macam, oh you are clever or you are hebat dalam certain domain expert, granted. But to be a dean, there's another matter altogether. So who's teaching them about governance? Who's teaching them about how to handle people interaction? How to now create staff well-being rather than staff management? And then, and sometimes the things that they do, if it is fantastic, is working in that, can they bring it up dalam JKP, dalam Senate ke, dalam management meetings of deans ke, supaya dekan-dekan lain juga dapat belajar macam mana benda ni dapat dilakukan. So this part and parcel of empowering good ideas coming from certain schools or certain departments to now be also part and parcel by the other schools.
All right.
Just last comment, I think because we are in an international university, I think we need to use international benchmark, international criteria. We cannot be calling ourselves international university when we use everything that the Kementerian gives us. And the Kementerian to me is hardly international in that sense. So how do you break that? How do you say that, no, we are beyond this and we want to move further? I think that's a call that we need to have. If you don't have that mindset and say what comes from the Kementerian is the only thing that we can think of, then I think we will not be there. And we cease to be international immediately, especially when all these things are changing. You know, we just had a discussion last night with there's another word that has come in, transgressive leadership pula. And these are new things that people create. What meaning it brings to us is something that we need to decide. But quite clearly that we need to be on the edge of things. If you are not, if you're still comfortable in your own silos, then I think you can bid the university goodbye. So thank you very much for that. And I think this is a good talk that everybody must sort of, bulan puasa ni nothing to do, nothing to kunyah, memang kunyah ni lah kot. Food for thought rather than food for thought.
Hadamkan.
Thank you very much.
InsyaAllah.
Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, Tan Sri. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
And Prof, we have we have questions. Ada yang raised hand now, but I think let us just go through the question posted here in the chat box. We hold on dulu dengan those yang raised hand tu ya. So okay, this is from Madam Naimah Razi. Herself, Okay, what are the 3 must-have principles that you have been standing firm on and needed for success in the leadership role? Okay, itu number 1, Prof. I think ini satu. You want to entertain this one first or?
So satu-satu because I'm getting younger every day and I tend to forget nanti kan.
Okay.
So what are the 3 things? Satu, I rasa at the end of the day, I pegang pada the fact that what you do has greater impact than what you say. So to me, first thing, integrity. I pegang pada amanah. Number 1, what is my responsibility, and I will take that to the hill. And bottom line is that with that amanah comes integrity. So for me, kalau Naimah nak tanya, values. To me, values very important. Character values very important. Kedua, academic standing must be there. You cannot lead a public university or university if your academic standing is not there, because you know that you are leading clever people in the university. Even kucing dalam university pun pandai, right? So you're leading clever people, and therefore you have to have the academic standing. And if you don't have the academic standing, I think it's a big worry for anyone in the university as the lecturer or as the staff. Allahu Akbar, manalah dia nak bawa this university kalau dia sendiri tak ada academic standing. Academic standing maknanya bukan setakat dia bagus dalam domain expert dia, tetapi dia juga wary, W-A-R-Y, wary about higher education and where higher education is going. Dan bukan setakat hanya wary about politik dan what the minister is about to say and what not, and therefore want to secure dia punya position as the number 1 or number 2. So to me, tak ramai orang yang wary about higher education, because I pegang balik pada amanah, which is the future generation. We are leading the future generation. So kalau kita buat silap, the future generation also silap. If the future generation silap, the nation is also going to be silap, right? So these the things that ni. Dan ketiga, I rasa governance is very very important, sebab ramai orang yang pegang position tak faham governance. Bila tak faham governance, caca marba bila dia jadi leader. So values, kemudian what you do has greater impact than what you say. Lead by example. Dan ketiga, apa yang kata tadi, governance need to be there, right? So these 3 things lah. Saya rasa kalau kita ada tiga-tiga, kita boleh faham macam mana nak lead the university. Kita tahu apa role of BOG, Board of Governors, kita tahu apa role of management of the university. So kita boleh separate the 2 and we can work better that way. We know how to deal with Senate dari segi academic. We know how to deal with research dari segi research governance. So semua tu is very important lah for me to understand the governance.
Okay, insyaAllah, Prof. Thank you, Madam Naimah, for the question. And there's another one here from PG Office. I think there's not only one PG office in the university. There are many, but this one I do not know from where. It just very general PG office. The question, or rather, is this okay? This is a question, a statement, and also a question. But Prof, there could be situation where some women might not want to put themselves up as leaders because they fear that they will not be able to achieve work-life balance if they take up the challenge and take up the leadership role.
Itu yang saya kata tadi. At the end of the day, I tanya, what does it take to be a leader? If you cannot be one, tak payah. Bukan menyusahkan saja. But so basically, if you want to be moving, that's why I selalu kata, who is your spouse? Your spouse matters. All right, because for wanita, behind every successful woman is a very supportive husband and family. If you don't have that, memang your work-life balance is in kaput. Sebab tu saya kata, and then on top of that, dengan unconscious biasness lagi, dengan target yang you kena meet lagi, memanglah stress, right? So that's why if you can't handle it, then don't take up the job. But sayanglah, especially when you are capable. So therefore, kalau you are capable, then time management is very important. Senang ya Syarizat. If there's a will, there's a way. Memang boleh buat. Alright. Tapi kalau masa macam tak say dah, tak payahlah. But if you want to, you can learn about time management. There's a lot of things. Kita ada PhD kan? Kalau ada PhD, kenapa tak boleh berfikir macam mana nak solve the problem? Memang boleh. Alright. Tapi it's just that kita tak nak malah basa. Bahasa Kelantan malah basa. So kalau malah basa, tak payahlah. Because better to give to people who can handle the job and who can do a good job at that. So that, you know, as I said, kita semua khalifah. So maybe you are khalifah in a smaller group rather than khalifah for a school or for an institute. Yeah.
Take it or leave it lah kan Prof? Okay.
Kalau ada capability, usahalah kan.
Okay, betul. Okay, anyway, I just read through je lah. Ni satu lagi daripada Aida Nur Syarini mention here. Betul. Women who are perceived to be loud, garang, dragon are always thought to be the hindrance. They never want to see the meaning behind the loud voices. Ini macam Prof mention kan. Always we are, you know, seen as itulah hindrance, as banyak mulut kan. But insyaAllah.
Tapi as I said tadi, cara kita bicara is also penting. That's why kita kena kata voice of reason. So saya kata tadi kan, kena ada voice of reason. Bukanlah nak garang, nak marah-marah, tapi ada voice of reason. Tapi bila kita bersuara, yang menjadi dekan tu pun harus juga mendengar. Sebab tu saya kata tak semua orang ni is ready to be a good leader. They just kadang-kadang setengah tu landed the job, right? So and if you landed the job, pegang kepada amanah. That is your amanah now. It's not like kata aku memang tak nak lah jadi dekan, tapi disuruh juga jadi dekan ni, dia pun malah lah aku. Tak boleh. Once you pegang, you kena pegang amanah tu. So bila you pegang amanah tu, you have to, as much as you talk, you also have to listen. Right? Setengah orang jadi leader, dia duk bercakap seorang ya. Orang lain tak ada boleh nak intercept pun, tak boleh interject pun. Tapi dia kena dengar as much as dia bercakap. So bila dia dengar, alright, then they make some and satu, you dengar satu voice. Kalau ada beberapa voices yang sama, maknanya it is a problem. So you cannot deny. That's why I said you need to undergo change. But you cannot say, tak ada problem lah, dia saja yang bising. You cannot do that. So that's why saya kata voice of reason, cakap dengan cara berhemah, dan juga bagi mungkin ada beberapa orang lagi yang minta support that idea, supaya dia menjadi satu pertukaran lah, change that need to happen in the department or in the school.
InsyaAllah. Prof, well, there's questions lagi, and this is from the question and answer box. I just realized that there are questions here. Okay, ini pun daripada Aida Nur Syarini. Just now, it's only a chat or just statement from her. This time is the real question. Dia kata, what do you think about emotional leadership and also about the practice of how everyone is expandable and replaceable? So why bother? Because as you say, we work hard yet our accomplishments are often unnoticed. So yang tu dulu Prof.
Ya, sebab tu saya kata tadi, bila dia macam ni bila kadang-kadang kita ada problem, bila wanita tu menjadi leader, dia rasa bahawa dia kena behave macam man. Itu pun problem juga. Dia kena behave macam man. Tetapi saya rasa kalau kita jadi leader, Tuhan dah bagi the innate characteristics yang ada kepada wanita. We are more collaborative, we are more teamwork, we empower people, we don't divide and rule, so if that kind of character is there, guna that character, it doesn't make you weak. Remember Harvard Business School dah tunjuk that character is now the one that survived COVID. So that God has many ways to show you a lot of things, right? So the character yang ada can handle crisis, can handle management, and so that kind of collaborative empowerment, yang consensus, yang ada cooperation, that is a good character to have post-COVID. Why? Because semua orang sudah knowledgeable melalui Google. Right, so you can't hide any news. Bukan semua orang bodoh dah ni. Everybody is now engaged and know what the news is all about. The only problem is they cannot differentiate between fake news and real news lah. But you can't hide a lot of things anymore. So that's why it's better to empower and dengar different ideas in order to help people to move, right? And bagi saya yang kata emotional leadership apa semua, lelaki pun boleh emotional juga. Panah baran lagi. So panah baran is also not pasal wanita, lelaki pun ada panah baran juga. So I don't think so lah that character macam ni is something yang nak ditonjolkan, because like I said, leadership is genderless. The power that needs to be shown is leadership, bukan sebab lelaki ke perempuan, it's about leadership. So who is the best person to show that leadership qualities and abilities should be the one to lead the organization.
InsyaAllah. Okay, Prof. There's two participants raised up their hands. Tapi because to be frank, I can't see them on my screen, but I got to know that they are apa tadi nama dia? Okay, Encik Muhizam, and the other one is Aisyah Humairah. So how do we attend this? I mean, can we call them now? Encik Muhizam. Okay, Encik Muhizam. You can ask Prof directly in here. Ada tak? Ataupun Aisyah Humairah. Saya tak tahu ni whether, so should I call you Dr. Aisyah Humairah? Okay, tak apa Prof. Kita
Saya ada kat sini, dia kata, so how do you balance the right to be equal but wanting to be treated differently? Saya rasa kenapa pula kena ada special treatment? Saya kata semasa nak buat selection, bukan special treatment, it is a policy. Kedua, pemakahan katalah ekstra kepada wanita, itu adalah recognition, bukan special treatment. It's recognition to the fact that wanita bekerja twice as hard because you have at work and then you have at the home. So it is a recognition given kepada wanita. So to me, that's not treating people as being different. All right. Once you masuk gelanggang, evaluation of your ability, capability is the same. It's just that you are, by this extra allows you now to masuk dalam gelanggang. So once you masuk dalam gelanggang, you being interviewed to become number 1, number 2, whatever, you're still being interviewed. And masa interview, it is you that now comes up. It's not about anything else. How you handle the question, how you handle yourself, do you profess? Ini semua bukan setakat untuk nak jadi leader dalam ni, nak jadi professor pun sama kan, you kena being interviewed. So masa interview is how you profess, how you carry out yourself. Itu very, very important. So that's why bagi saya confidence need to be there. Show substance, right? Sebab wanita kau jadi leader, there must be a woman of substance. Sebab kalau tidak, tak ada kehormatan juga, nanti pimai, because you not overcome this unconscious biasness, right? tanya kat saya memang sentiasa chair, saya sendiri the only woman in the room. Does it matter? It doesn't matter to me. I treat everybody as part of the team. So it's how you perceive yourself lah. Kalau you berasa macam, oh diri you kalau kena different lah, I can, hey, hello, I pakai tudung, tak pakai tudung, whatever it is, when I chair, I want things, people must discuss, I allow for the people to bagi ideas, and kalau idea bagus, aku kata bagus, idea brilliant kepala otak. So I memang kena I will say things like that, because to me, it's how you treat people lah. Kalau you nampak dia tu sebagai, oh lelaki, Allah banyak leceh lah. Bagi I, if they are part of my team, they are my TNCs, then they are part of my team. So I will discuss with them openly and macam mana kita discuss person to person lah, mono a mono. Tak payah kata, oh ada differences, things like that. Waktu kita bersantai, memang ada difference-nya. Tapi waktu kita meeting, this is where things need to be professional. And this is the word I want to say. Be professional lah. Dalam any aspect pun, ya.
Okay, Prof, kita tengok question from the Q&A box. This is from Idayu Mumtaz. Dia kata, thank you, Prof. Asma, for the amazing sharing. Speaking of well-being, what are your views on introducing menstrual leave policy at the university for both female staff and students?
I do not know about menstrual leave. I was talking about breastfeeding. Tapi dia kalau sakit sangat dia kena under MC lah kot. Tapi kalau sakit sangat memang ada ubatnya. So coming from my angle, all this ada ubatnya. So kalau you makan the ubat, it will solve all the problem. Kalau you tak tahu pasal ubat, itu yang you duk sakit, you duk tahan, right? So ada benda I boleh kata ye lah, ada benda I have to say ne lah. Mungkin knowledge saja untuk menstrual leave. Minta maaf lah tuan.
Okay, tak apa. Tapi saya nampak admin, you want to answer that question? Admin? No. Okay, tak apa. Moving on, we have another one ni in the chat box. Challenges, this is from Liza Ruslan. Challenges are there, as you said, more to us women. It's really not easy being a leader. What more showing a good leadership role model. But as you said, it is not possible. I learned so much about being a leader and leadership from this talk today. Okay, this is
not impossible kot. I think it's not impossible. Right?
It is not possible. Betul. It is not impossible. Betul.
Yeah.
Betul.
It's not impossible. Memang boleh.
It is possible to achieve katanya. Okay, dia dah betulkan di situ. And
I welcome juga soalan daripada lelaki. Mana dia soalan lelaki tak ada. I don't know whether men who are deans are also listening, and whether apa yang saya cakap ni adakah dekan-dekan yang
ini ada satu, Prof. I do not know whether we have. I think we haven't entertained this from, I think the siapa ni, Mazlina.
Puan Aisyah is raising your hand.
Aisyah, ada?
Daripada admin. To Aisyah Humairah.
Aisyah Humairah, yes. This is the one that we called just now. Ada tak? Aisyah Humairah? Okay, tak apa.
Dia dah enable the mic. So, boleh cakap now. Kau tadi dia pak
muted.
Enable the mic, yeah.
Okay, Puan Aisyah tak ada. Yang ini ada satu, Prof. I think we haven't entertained this. Ini daripada Puan Mazlina.
Zurina pun raise the hand juga kan?
Zurina ni saya nampak. Kita tunggu dia sekejap, Prof. Kita tengok ini dulu. The dilemma is some women, they want to be treated like men. The dilemma is, dah sudah Oh, dia sudah. Okay, sekejap. Ada lagi tak?
Zurina.
Okay, tak apa. Then Dr. Zurina, please.
Assalamualaikum, Prof. Assalamualaikum. Ada Syarizat tu dia saja je. Tak apa ni Zurina, nanti tunggu. Okay. Thank you, Prof. I'm always inspired with your talk. Okay, just now you have mentioned all the competencies that needed, but all the peringatan, semua to remind us we have to do this, we have to do that. Okay. Cuma based on your observation, Prof, or kalau you have the data perhaps, apa di antara competency to be leaders, good leaders yang normally absent dalam perempuan, dalam ladies like us ni, yang we need to acquire and enhance?
Dia macam ni tau, knowledge. Knowledge is power. And a lot of the times, the power about knowledge lies in the golf course, in the men's club, in the tennis games. You know, you sort of know this and you sort of know that. And wanita ni in a different circuit altogether. And as you're a leader, there are a lot of information yang mungkin you tak tahu lah. So that's one of the apa orang kata biasness against lah, sebab apa, wanita kan kita tak main golf sangat, atau kalau you main golf pun tak ramai orang akan share information with you. It's still a club that is now sharing information among themselves. So knowledge is power. Like I said, ni bukan knowledge pasal you punya expertise, Zurina. This is knowledge about a lot of things that is external influences that will make or break your leadership in the organization. So that is one thing that I can think of lah, that selalunya kita tak part of the game lah. So kita memang akan hilang. But that's why bagi saya kan, saya lebih suka do not create enemies. I like to have friends everywhere, and that's why kawan-kawan saya can be from PA all the way to office boy sampai ke the highest level, because because your network kan, so because if that is the case, dia pun tak ada masalah nak cerita apa-apa kat saya pun. So that's how I get the information that I don't get at the golf course or any of this. The networking, to be a leader, your networking must be strong. It's not about gossiping, not networking. And satu lagi, it's not about Facebook tau. And then saya juga kata kan, at the end of the day, jangan cerita macam-macam sangat dalam you punya Facebook, because what's there in the internet cannot be removed. What is there digitally can never be removed, and at the end of the day it can be used against you, and on top of that akan disebar-sebarkan, and information can go to the wrong hands. So to me, when you become a leader, be very careful about what exactly that you put in print. I read every letter that I sign, cara I nak bagi tahu, kata minta maaf, but I cannot promote you at this time. Ayat yang digunakan, saya cukup very prihatin tentang cara AR menulis ayat-ayat tu, because dia akan menghuris hati orang yang menerima negativity. Yang menerima positivity itu bukan nak kata terima kasih pun, dia akan seronok aja. Tapi at the end of the day, orang yang kita kata no ataupun KIV, cara kita bagi tahu ke orang tu very important. This to me kan, qualities that need to be there, tapi jarang-jarang diajar kepada mereka yang untuk menjadi a good leader, a good administrator, supaya tidak menghuris hati. Ketiga kan, Zurina, saya rasa kan, everyone kalau perlulah needs to be appreciated. Tak kisahlah apa-apa pun needs to be appreciated. Like when I was VC at USM, kan kita ada the new technology, it's called WhatsApp, right? So we generate WhatsApp congratulations for every pencapaian, daripada student, daripada support staff, daripada ni. And then on top of the WhatsApp yang saya beritahu pada semua dekan-dekan dan juga all the top management supaya dia orang tahu, saya juga keluarkan surat. So saya punya pejabat naib chancellor akan keluarkan surat kata tahniah dan sebagainya, dan university is very proud of you. Is it costly? No. Does it make a lot of difference? Yes. So because but itu pun kena diajar untuk semua AR untuk melakukannya. So when I came in dekat USM, I learned about this at KPT, because kita banyak professors yang hebat-hebat kan, so we keluar this. So I learned that technology, and I think ni lah. Sama juga macam saya dapat tokoh akademik negara, right? I got from every university except IIUM. Bukan nak kata lah, tapi the WhatsApp yang saya tahniah tu, every university ada, tapi except IIUM. So but I got personal tahniah ada lah, tapi it is apa orang kata culture. Where is that culture? Kalau saya tak dapat, tak apa, saya tak ada masalah. Tapi kalau ada pensyarah-pensyarah lain yang mendapat some anugerah ke, mendapat great grant ke, international grant ke, so di mana culture untuk mengatakan, we are so proud of you. Where is that culture? It doesn't have to come from the Naib Chancellor punya office. What is the PRO doing? So this is some of the things that I say for strategic communication of the university. Cakna dan prihatin tu kena ada dalam cara kita menjalankan tugas, because you can't go around telling people this is a caring university when the way it is being done is not caring at all. So dia kena ada lah benda-benda ni, sebab kadang-kadang kita tak payah ajar tau, benda ni patut ada bagi that's why apa I kata tadi Syarizat, amanah. Kalau you jadi PRO, amanah you apa sebagai PRO. Kalau you jadi AR, amanah you apa sebagai AR. So those kind of things need to be there lah. But it's not there dalam governance ke, dalam policy ke, tak ada benda ni. To say thank you, it carries a lot. Ni, and when USM, I selalu kata kalau kita dapat apa-apa, hashtag syukur selalu. I say that, and it's now in every ni, apa orang punya Facebook pun ada hashtag syukur selalu. Bila kita kata macam tu, bila kita bersyukur, a lot more Tuhan will give to us. You know what I'm saying? So there two-way street lah. Satu, menghargai kaki tangan yang ada di dalam IIUM, dan kedua, kita mendapat something, hashtag syukur selalu for the things that we got from God. Yeah.
InsyaAllah. Alright, okay.
Can I just add a bit? Sorry.
Yeah.
Please.
Prof, just now you mentioned about empathy lah, lebih kurang kan, how you communicate kepada mereka yang tak dapat promotion, how they grow and such. Okay, I believe that it's part of empathy kan, Prof kan, and it's baffling to hear that you tak dapat the congratulatory note daripada IIUM. Congratulations, Prof. Okay.
Tan Sri kata ada must hit for the AN. Well, I didn't get any. I tak tahu.
Oh, okay. All right.
Anyway, kalau dapat, terima kasih lah. But I didn't get it personally.
It's on our website and it's still
Dalam
on.
website,
You can
Prof.
check on it.
Dalam website.
Okay. Alright.
Prof,
Awak tak hantar kat I.
Spirituality.
Okay, sorry. Zurina, apa dia?
Do you think it got to do with spirituality punya factor?
Tentang apa? Tentang
All
cara.
this
Cara ni lah, macam just now you mentioned.
cara to appreciate people.
So, how to appreciate people. Do you think it's with the tempat susu and all that tadi?
Cepat susu.
Kalau spirituality is about values, is about things that need to be there for caring, concept. Mungkin SDG 18 yang nak diutarakan oleh IUM should be there lah. Tapi saya rasa a lot of these things yang kadang-kadang kita tak payah fikir banyak lah. It's something that can be done, should be done, because that kind of concept should be there. That's why I kata staff well-being rather than staff management. You faham tak, Zurina? So bila kita cakap pasal staff well-being, then there's a lot of things. Minda sama juga macam kita selalu kata bukan human capital, tetapi kita nurture talent. Kalau kita kata human capital, then kita think of students as a commodity. So sama juga kalau kita kata kat university we want to become a caring university, then we should treat the staff nurture and treat the staff as a talent that we need to now appreciate and be able to encourage and inspire and motivate dia to now become better and better.
InsyaAllah.
Alright,
Okay, Dr. Zurina.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Prof, I think ada lagi soalan tak, admin? It is we have another 4 minutes before 12. Yeah. Okay, tapi I suka nak baca this one. If I have
Zainal
if
Abidin Sanusi ni raise his hand.
itulah tu. Nanti jap. Sebelum tu ada daripada Sejahtera ni, tapi I believe this is from
Sejahtera dia lah kot.
Sejahtera dia lah ni, office dia lah ni.
Ah.
Tapi yang ni saya rasa daripada more from the president of PMA ni. Dia cakap, Prof Datuk, we have just offered for any takers. First sister president PMA. PMA ni, for your information Prof, is the Professional Management Association. Maknanya AR and above.
Boleh lah.
All the ARs. This is the association. So far the associations ni was led and is now currently led by a male president. But so far, to me, as far as we are concerned, if everything is going on track, smooth, tak ada masalah pun. Tapi yalah, dia dah panggil tu for the first sister president tu. Nanti mungkin ada takers lah kot, insyaAllah.
Mungkin ada takers lah tu. Lepas dengar ni insyaAllah ada takers tu.
Adalah takers tu. Alright, so
Zainal.
Ini siapa ni? Dr. Zainal ke?
Ya, Dr. Zainal.
Dr. Zainal ke?
Tak ada orang lain tanya. I want to show the men support. That's why I want to ask.
Yeah. What is the men support saying?
Okay, Prof. I don't know. I mean, even during you were mentioning about selection of BC, etc., you sit in the board and you see how even the names are not there. So it has to start with the policy first. Yes, because at the end of the day, if you pass the decisions still to the pool of men, so they will be biased. Even now, you won't see much men talking here. Whenever issues about women, empowering women, there's women talking to women. So that will not lead to much change. Can that be taken as indicator that as long as you won't get men's participations in talking like this, you are not moving anywhere? You really need to make sure that the men's, or you have to force men to come in. Otherwise, we will be going around the same circle that we will not be able to change the real change that we want.
But dia macam ni, I'm glad in the sense that 3 of the wanita are in the UMC sekarang. So maknanya kalau the voices, the reasonable voices, the request, etc. tak patut, maknanya patut dinaikkan pada 3 wanita ini, dan 3 wanita ini should be brave enough to boot this thing up kat UMC supaya as you say berlaku sebagai policy. Kadang-kadang nak dapat semua dekan-dekan nak bicara tentang perkara ni mungkin tak ada. Mungkin tapi kalau top down policy, that is also possible now to now dilakukan. So to me betul lah Zainal, memang at the end of the day is about policy. Policy is also a guide tentang cara kita nak menjadi caring dan sebagainya. Tapi there's a lot more. That's why I kata kalau happiness index becomes a KPI, then the dean would now, what I did at USM, happiness index is a KPI. What the breastfeeding is a KPI. So if they don't do it, then there is going to be negative against them. So semua buat. And then happiness index. Then they tell me what are the happiness index things that they do in order to masa every 6 months bila berjumpa dengan ketua-ketua jabatan. So dia untuk nak monitor dia orang punya KPI. So we meet twice a year so that they can tell me what are the problem they face or what are the achievements that they have done in order to generate happiness index. Tapi jarang-jarang saya nampak happiness index as a KPI dalam universities lah. Kebanyakannya more towards moving the ranking dan sebagainya. So mungkin Zainal, you are right, policy should be a starter to move things. And there's a lot of things that UMC can do.
InsyaAllah.
Thank you, bro.
All right, thank you, Dr. Zainal. Okay, Prof, it is now 12 noon. Those ladies at home, I think they don't have to prepare lunch. It's Ramadan. Okay. Okay, Prof, just to share with you, before we end the session, I think to everyone as well, this is what my take up from what we have listened to, Prof. Few, I would say, kata kunci, okay? Few kata kunci or few words that I think maybe we can share, especially being a woman's leader. The first one is respect. To be leader among leaders in a university, you must gain respect from those not only academician but everyone in the university or everyone around you. Yang I think the keynote, the second word that I take up is learned or learn, yeah, knowledge lah. So leadership actually can be learned. Leadership can be learned. It is not only a skill or a talent, but from that we can learn. And Prof did mention about the experience as well. Yeah. Experiential, yang the things that you do on the ground, yeah. And then other than that, saya suka dengan when Prof mentioned about move from denial to action. Move from denial to action. This one is very close to me, Prof, kan. Kebanyakan di keliling kita ni memang banyaknya in denial je. I would say dekat dalam rumah ni pun ada juga yang in denial. But I think it's about time, yeah. Move from denial to action. And then agile. Yeah, agile. Change agile leaders are needed now. Change agile leaders are needed now. Maksudnya leaders yang agile, yang move fast. Yeah. It's
when facing change.
Exactly. We need that now at the moment. And then core belief. Ini pun satu yang saya catatkan sebagai one of the keyword yang I think we should bring back together and think about it. Core belief, foundational shifts. Foundational shifts. Kebetulan saya pun dekat Foundation Studies Center. Dia pula cakap dekat sini, transformation require foundational shifts from within. It's from within. It's from inside. Yeah, don't just talk about outside, what happened outside. But kita fikir di dalam dulu, and that is what we are doing. I mean, in CFS, just to share with you, Prof, we are doing that now. We are looking from within. We are looking from within to transform. InsyaAllah nanti later, InsyaAllah the university will get the result from it, InsyaAllah, yeah. And then shift from reactive to creative. Yang ini pun I think sangat-sangat to me, saya jarang jumpa perkataan, I jarang jumpa this sentence ataupun this statement, shift from reactive to creative. Normally we'll listen to people saying that you must be creative. Yeah, it's actually you need to shift from reactive to creative mindsets. And then lagi take money to make money. Saya suka that's why kenapa tadi kita tengok Madam Naimah tanya dulu, sepatutnya I siap-siap cakap this one ni, take money to make money. And this one to me is related, Prof, is actually related to staff well-being. Yeah. Take for example what I did recently. I brought our team to outside to the hotel satu malam aja to re-energize, to rejuvenate the staff, and they are so happy. All the head departments are so happy. We managed to come up with of course with the help of a team from Gombak juga, where Dr. Zurina is also in there. What happened kan, we managed to get the strategic planning of CFS set up within 2 days, 3 days, 2 nights, tapi 1 night dekat hotel. Sebab apa tau? It's actually about the staff well-being. Diorang seronok sebenarnya. When we bring them out, buat sikit games and whatnot, they are so happy after 2 years of not being able to come out. Tapi I also believe that there are kuliah ataupun departments that could not be able to do that sebab duit. So because of money. So itulah Madam Naimah, I hope that you are still listening. So I agree. I could not agree more for the statement that take money to make money. Itu satu. And then lagi, apa lagi? Okay, more coaching. Okay, satu lagi. From what I my take up from what Prof mentioned, well, kita ni sebenarnya as a woman, I believe that woman leader ni dia provide more coaching rather than commanding. Sebenarnya kita provide better mentorship, Prof. As a mother kan, duk nagging. Tadi pun dah start dah nak nagging kan. Tapi sebenarnya that helps. Yeah, to me lah, that helps. And what else? Ability to wear many hats. When Prof mentioned about those who WFH, where I also noticed that, Prof, because we chair, where we sit on a chair as a chairman, we cannot go away. We have to stay in front of the screen kan. But then everyone is like, you know, start enabling their off their camera kan. Atau mana pergi tu. Of course, I faham sangat dah tu. So ada masanya saya minta pada my staff, okay, why don't you put on your earphone like this and make sure it is actually apa kita kata bukan wifi apa, that's another word tu, apa benda yang selalu wireless and Bluetooth, so that while washing your dishes ke whatever, you can still listen to me. So itu sebab saya kata women actually ada ability to wear many hats, but looking at you know, yalah, orang dalam rumah I ni pun dia akan duduk at one corner, listen to the meeting and you know macam very focused, tapi we can still go and take out the kain from the machines, things like that, you know, as long as we have all this technology. And then lagi satu, volunteering task to assigning task. Yeah, I think as far as I'm concerned, women leaders able to do this. Women leaders can volunteer, selalu suka volunteer, yeah. But at the same time, if she is a leader, she also able to assign. Pasal nagging tadi lah kan, one of our participant tadi kata dah jadi macam dragon lah whatever. Okay, now I want you to do this. Woman. Jarang jugalah kita dengar from men. Okay, and apa lagi here? Okay, I think this is last but not least lah ya. What you give back, you get back. Ini konsep Prof mention, syukur selalu. Ya Prof? Kita syukur, kita minta pada Allah Ta'ala, whatever that we give, we get back insyaAllah ya. Allah yang akan nanti balas dan bayar kepada kita. And lastly, happiness index. I think it's about time for us to, in IIUM especially, to start thinking of this happiness index as our KPI. All right, Prof, I think with that, on behalf of the organizing committee or on behalf of MSD and IIUM as a whole, first thing first is, again, congratulations to you. Okay, but this is deep from my heart. Yeah, congratulations to you on behalf of the university as well. InsyaAllah we will improve. Saya rasa admin nanti dah dengar ni, please, you know, why don't? I think it's about time. Yeah, maybe kita tak ada whatever Prof mentioned about the WhatsApp group, whatever WhatsApp messages, but insyaAllah kita boleh buat nanti later ya. Dan Prof, on behalf of the university, on behalf of MSD again, I thank you for your time with us in this second session of leadership talk, isn't it? Okay, on the second session of the administrative, I nak kena tengok pula dah. Tak syok pula kalau tak tahu the. Okay, leadership talk series, yeah, number 2, 2022, entitled Women in Leadership, Inspiring Positive Transformation. And thank you, Prof. Once again, hoping to see you, you know, in the future, and hoping to listen from you again. InsyaAllah, thank you very much, everyone. Have blessed Ramadan. Selamat berbuka puasa, insyaAllah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you all and Ramadan Kareem.